Hello, and welcome to my presentation about VeChain. If you're here, you probably already know a bit about the project, but in case you don't, let's start with a brief introduction. What is VeChain? VeChain is a blockchain-based technology specifically focused on supply chain management, that is, to enable tracking from the point of origin to the point of consumption. VeChain should allow production and supply chains to become transparent to all parties, the consumer, the reseller, and the supplier. So what makes VeChain's blockchain different? Well, VeChain was started in 2015 by Sunny Lu, who interestingly was previously CIO of Louis Vuitton China. VeChain originally ran on the Ethereum blockchain, and they launched their own blockchain network in July 2018 called the VeChain Thor blockchain network. This uses a new model of governance, allowing both smart contracts and IoT, that's Internet of Things, to run on the platform. An example of a simple smart contract is the ability to input a set of conditions and, when they are fulfilled, automatically send payment to the right party. Of course, complex smart contracts can do much more than that, but that's a topic for another time. IoT integration means the platform is ready to integrate with consumer devices, like NFC or RFID chips, like the ones we use in credit cards today. Okay, so that's all very interesting, but what does this mean? How can we apply this in the real world? Well, let's take an example of a restaurant that specialises in chicken products. They want to know that the produce they are getting is to the right standard. Historically, some problems have been that between the journey from the supplier to the restaurant, the chicken may have been kept at the wrong temperature, or perhaps delayed in transit without their knowledge, leading to less shelf life once it reaches the restaurant. With VeChain, you can track these things. The moment the chicken leaves the factory, an RFID tag is scanned, logging the date, time, and tracking ID. The package itself is fixed with a temperature-sensitive tag, which is scanned at each point along the journey. This data is all logged in the VeChain Thor blockchain network, which is tamper-proof and then available for everyone to see. Once the chicken arrives, if all the conditions have been met, payment could be released automatically to the supplier. If there were a problem at a later stage with the product, the restaurant could scan the tag on the specific chicken to see what the journey looked like and where the problem may have occurred. This allows complete transparency and visibility for everyone, secured by the blockchain network itself to prevent fraud. Of course, this also allows suppliers, resellers, logistics companies, and the end customer to check on the product at any point on the journey, making VeChain Thor a powerful tool for the entirety of the supply chain. This also allows parties within the supply chain to gain trust with each other and create a business relationship based on facts and evidence. So I know what you're thinking, this all sounds great, but we all know the Bitcoin network can sometimes get congested, not to mention expensive to use. And what happens if the same thing happens to VeChain? Well, the VeChain blockchain is designed differently to the Bitcoin blockchain. With Bitcoin, blocks are mined every 10 minutes, whereas with VeChain it's every 1 second, which is 600 times faster. This means VeChain can process 10,000 transactions per second. VeChain has also implemented 2 types of token: VET, the token used for purchases and conveying voting rights, and Thor Power tokens. Thor is used as the transaction fee to send VET to new wallets. 70% of it will be burned, and 30% used as a reward for the validation nodes on the network. We'll talk more about how validation works later. Thor is created by owning VET. If you keep VET in a wallet, it will generate Thor tokens, a bit like interest in a bank. The longer you leave it there, the more you will have. This is what will keep VET as a valuable currency. By having it, you generate Thor, which you need to post transactions to the blockchain. Thor will become a sought-after commodity for all parties using the system, which will increase investment in VET in order to create it. VeChain can change the amount of Thor needed to write to the network as needed, which should allow the price of sending a transaction to remain relatively low, whilst keeping VET flowing through quickly. We mentioned validation nodes earlier, so what is a validation node, and how does it work? Validation on a blockchain is quite a complex topic, but I'll try and give a basic overview here. VeChain works with a POA model, which stands for Proof of Authority. This consists of a network of authority masternodes, AM for short. These AMs are on a whitelist set up by the VeChain Foundation and are the only ones allowed to post and validate blocks on the network. There will also only ever be 101 of these. Everyone that wants to post a transaction to the blockchain submits it to be verified by the AMs. In order to run an AM, potential candidates must voluntarily disclose their identity to the VeChain Foundation, have a balance of over 25 million VET, and run some hardware in order to process the validations. There also needs to be a free spot for an AM in order to sign up. This system prevents anonymous block creation or validation, and because of these stringent checks on validators, each AM owner can be held accountable and incentivized to work in the best interest for the network's growth and security. Earlier on, we referred to the 30% of Thor power tokens that are not burned in each transaction. These are sent to the AM that creates the next block. There is another type of node that can be purchased by anyone. This type of node does not perform validation, but in order to have it, it needs to hold an amount of VET in a wallet in order to be designated a node. This provides stability to the network and will produce a higher number of Thor tokens than a normal wallet. So where is VeChain going? Well, the goals for the VeChain blockchain platform are outlined in its white paper, which you can find on their website, www.vechain.com. The initial target is to disrupt the supply chain industry by making data actionable and transparent. In the future, its blockchain plans to have dApps and initial coin offerings, or ICOs for short, on the VeChain and Internet of Things platform. VeChain is among the few blockchains that already have a substantial customer base among established companies, with the likes of PwC and Deloitte on the list. They have also partnered with Chinese firm Jiangsu Electronics to develop custom RFID chips for use on its platform, and car company Renault for its manufacturing operations. VeChain is also the government technology partner for Guyane, an economic development zone for the central government. It was recently announced that VeChain had been picked as one of the top blockchains out of 300 researched for supply chain management by a study commissioned by the German government, with further research to be done on the use case. More cryptocurrency exchanges are also showing interest in VET, the latest being Coinbase, who in June 2020 announced they would be investigating listing it on their exchange. In summary, the future looks bright for VeChain. There are multiple projects in progress with some serious backing from large players, and the unique implementation of the two-token blockchain principle should set it apart from the competition.